everyone, Samita here. Welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year 2026. It's been a minute. I always say this every video that I make. But today I am sitting in the sun on some grass and just thought I'd make a video here very impulsively. Um, I've been spending more intentional time in nature so as to avoid emotional burnout, and that is the topic of today's conversation. What is emotional burnout? How is it different from physical burnout? And what are the symptoms of being emotionally burnt out? And what you can do to get out of an emotional burnout state? Let's get into it. Of course, you're going to hear a lot of nature sounds today, and my hair is going to be rustling in the wind. Um, but it is what it is. So, yeah. So, first of all, what is physical burnout? It is when the screw is not shutting up. It is when you are physically overexerting yourself, you're exercising more, not eating enough food, not getting enough sleep, or just generally you're physically drained, you don't have enough physical energy. That is different. Emotional burnout is when you are processing things that put you in a state of stress, and that stress contributes to negative emotions, and you're constantly processing negative emotions without getting to rest in positive emotions. For example, if you're in a chronic state of stress in your workplace, you're constantly anxious about what your boss would say, that's anxiety, or you are stressed about a deadline, you are worrying about all the potential things that could go wrong, you're racing against time, so you're always in an emotional state of discomfort. Or it's like one thing after another. Right after like a huge work problem gets solved, then there's grief that comes about. you know a pet passes away, or a friend's going through a hard time, or you're going through a hard time. So it's like grief, sadness, stress, anxiety, constantly being in a state of having to regulate negative emotions, or not having the time or the space to regulate negative emotions and to come to a state of equilibrium is called emotional burnout. When you're constantly putting your nervous system under the stress of having to deal with complex emotions, and you've not gotten a safe space to process those emotions healthily, and that stress compounds over time, that is when emotionally you tend to get burnt out. Your nervous system and your emotions are very connected. So you can think of physical burnout as the body being exhausted, and emotional burnout as your nervous system being exhausted more than anything else. Let's get into what happens when you are emotionally burnt out, so you can tell next time you are feeling burnt out that, oh, maybe I'm emotionally burnt out, which means you need to sit with yourself, and process complex emotions in a state of calmness and a state of equilibrium without pressure and stress, also contributing to your life at that moment. So, carving out some space to sit with negative emotions and process them healthily, talk to a friend, those are things you can do. Meditation, spending time in nature, especially, right? Anything that calms the nervous system, getting a massage, collecting your thoughts, journaling, writing things down, processing your emotions that are negative healthily can take you out of being emotionally burnt out. Putting it off, suppressing it, escapism, running from it, will compound over time only to keep you in a state of chronic emotional burnout. And when that happens, sooner or later, these are the 5 things that you can expect to see. So let's get into the symptoms of emotional burnout. Our bodies are so beautifully designed to protect us from everything possible, right? You're in a dangerous situation, adrenaline, right? That helps you flee the situation, fight the situation, or just brace your body for something traumatic that is to come. You're flooded with adrenaline that acts like a painkiller. So, similarly, when we're under chronic stress, our nervous system really tries to cope in ways that help us sustain through life, because stress is not good. Although, yes, over time it does affect us, cortisol levels do compromise our physical strength and ability to be healthy. The body pushes as much as it can, to keep us safe from uh, taking on more emotionally than we're capable of. So, one thing that happens when you're emotionally burnt out, like you can't take anymore, is that you go numb. You don't feel excited about things usually that would excite you, or you just want something to land, but it's not landing. You want to feel happy or good about something, or you want to feel your feelings, but you've shut down. Emotional shutdowns and going numb, there's signs that your body is processing as much emotions as it can at this moment, and if you give it anything else, it'll crack. And sometimes you have no choice but to get into problem solving mode or deal with people who are in distress, And that's when your body's like, I'm incapable of responding to this with empathy or emotion, or being able to feel my feelings to be able to support this person. So that's why we take consent if people are in a place to listen to you first, and then you are able to connect to them and tell them something vulnerably so that they can be there for you. But a lot of times during emotional burnout, your capability and your capacity to be there for people emotionally vanishes. You're like, I can't feel the other person's feelings, I can't empathize with them, I can't even listen to them, I don't want to deal with this. So that's sign number one, emotional numbness. Sign number two of emotional burnout, you're reacting more drastically to things. People would say it's overreacting, but you're not overreacting to the you're not overreacting technically, because you are reacting exactly in accordance to how stressed you are, but maybe to that particular situation you will be probably perceived as overreacting. A small text can throw you off, some small remark a family member makes can put you in a frenzy. You drop a glass and you feel like, oh my god, it's just like horrible things back to back. You're not able to see beyond the stress. Like, you're not able to see, it's like you have tinted glasses that are tinted with stress, so everything feels stressful. So when this is the case, there is a tendency to catastrophize things more. Tiny things can tick you off more, and if tiny things are ticking you off, it is a sign that you're already at your fill of processing difficult feelings, emotions, and events. Small things feel disproportionately heavy. You are reacting to things that are small. Someone asking for support when you're not in a place, like someone texting, social interaction itself, like wanting to connect to people or stay connected, or just generally someone trying to reach out to you for you to be there for them. All of these things taking you off, or like not being able to do these things, falls under both like one and two, right? Like, you're emotionally at your fill capacity wise. So reacting disproportionately to small events is definitely a sign of emotional burnout. Sign number three, you withdraw even from people you love. Because sign number four, you feel detached from everything and you feel irritable and easily annoyed. And your immediate surroundings, your family members, they pick up on it, and you don't feel like explaining yourself, nor do you feel like being understood by them. And they're just like, what's up with you? And you're just irritated because they're questioning something you don't want to explain. You just want to keep your distance, you don't want to explain yourself. So sign number three is withdrawing from people that you love, not really being able to ask for support, because that would require explaining, and explaining requires understanding, and it's difficult to understand when you don't know which emotion needs to be processed, what event from the past week has added to your emotional burnout, or the past month, or the past 2 months. It's difficult to pinpoint. And a lot of the times, I think families don't really have the emotional tools to understand, sometimes that happens. So you withdraw from people you love, and you isolate yourself. During this time, it is recommended to push yourself to talk to people, but like, I would recommend journaling, so at least you can understand what's going on with yourself first, so that you can communicate it effectively, right? Sign number four is that exactly, you are irritated and annoyed because you're sensitive to everything, because your emotional system, your nervous system is overstimulated. So every external extra stimuli irritates you, because it's like, how much more stimulus can I take, how much more of being stimulated can I even take, and everything becomes a potential extra stimulus, right? So that's 3 and 4. The fifth one is the most important one, is that rest does not feel restorative. You might notice that when you're emotionally burnt out, you dream more, because your dreams are helping you process feelings and emotions that you've not really sat with and processed yourself, right? You've barely had the chance to catch up to one emotion before the next one also has to come on online, and then you are forced to confront that emotion also. Before you could process one negative emotion, the next one took its place, the next event that caused another negative emotion took its place. So if you've not processed, you will notice that your dreams start processing your emotions for you. Like, for example, falling from buildings is like anxiety being processed, such examples, right? And no matter how much you sleep, because you're emotionally burnt out, sometimes sleep is not enough, it doesn't feel restful enough. The biggest sign of emotional burnout is sleep not getting rid of the fatigue that you feel. Because yes, emotional burnout makes you feel exhausted, because your nervous system's on overdrive, you're in a stress response probably, and you're exhausted. So how do you get out if sleep doesn't work? How do you get out of being emotionally burnt out? One, I would say processing the emotions, talking to people, journaling. The other thing is BTEA, belief, thoughts, emotions, and action. See what event triggered what thought, and what thought triggered what belief about yourself, about the world, about things. Sometimes it's like, man, no matter how much I try, I'm never going to succeed at this, blah, blah, blah. See how many negative beliefs you're housing because of actions that trigger them, what thoughts you're carrying. Identify those thoughts, and then identify those emotions that are connected to those negative thoughts that are repeating probably again and again. Feelings of unsafety that came from maybe someone in your life making you feel unsafe with yourself, or unsafe to be yourself or process your emotions healthily, right? That is the emotional part. And action, what you can do about it. One is cognitive reframing, subconscious reprogramming. There's a video on this channel about how to reprogram your subconscious mind. Like, journaling, writing it out, writing the counter of that particular belief down. A lot of the times it's our negative beliefs and emotions towards our own selves that keep us in a burnt out state, right? Or like the world being unkind. Unkindness can also keep us in a state of like, man, no matter how much I do, even if I'm my best self, like being met with hostility or unkindness, that can also push us down. So what are the feelings that you're feeling? Like the world is unsafe, people are not safe to me, people are not nice to me, blah blah blah. Identify what's causing it, and then one at a time, there are many things you can do. How do you restore safety? Spend time with people who are safe. Spend time with yourself in a way that removes the pressure of having to perform for the world around you. Connect with nature, get a massage, meditate. I would recommend things like craniosacral therapy, amazing. Being in a state of rest and getting rid of being in a fight or flight state really helps you process your thoughts and emotions more clearly, and will slowly take you out of being emotionally burnt out. But these are the signs you can see to identify whether you are in emotional burnout or not. So I hope this helps to know if this is happening to you. It's emotional burnout. You can very easily, guide yourself out of it. Get help from a loved one, even your therapist, and ask them to give you tools to come out of emotional burnout. I hope this video helped. There are people sitting very close to me. I'm going to move now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the post notifications so we can stay connected. And I will see you next time, hopefully very, very soon. Bye.